Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Mindful Monday. I'm Caitlin Hubbard, LPC Associate, supervised by Dr. Amos.
And my name is B. Yowzy, LPC Associate, also supervised by Dr. Amos here at Frontera Healthcare Network.
We're excited to be with you for another Mindful Monday. Today, we are going to dive into an important topic, financial stress and mental health related to the holidays. Before we get started, we want to take a moment to recognize our incredible partners. The Wellness Uncorked initiative is made possible through a partnership with the Texas Wine Auction and Frontera Healthcare. This initiative allows us to provide free group counseling classes, educational seminars like this Mindful Monday, health fairs, and more. This is all designed to support the well-being, especially the mental health well-being of our community. Alrighty, so let's jump into it.
Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about financial stress. And when Caitlin and I were working on this project, I'm like, this is very accurate to right now. Not only just the season's coming up, we touched on it last week, last month on the Mindfulness Mondays, but finances really do take a big emotional strain, right? And so a little bit about what financial stress is. It's the pressure or strain that you experience when managing your obligations, such as debt, bills, gearing up for the holidays. Okay, who are we paying gifts for? Who are we going to bake for? Like, how are we going to show our appreciation to our loved ones without breaking the bank? Or if we are going to break the bank, how are we going to recover, right? And so some subtle signs that can intensify into financial stress is severe debt, right? And cash flow problems. So for example, right, you're really stressed. So then you start ignoring bills and bank balances due to fear of the anxiety of the financial stress. So you stop paying bills or you just don't pay attention to them as much as you normally do. This also can include poor budgeting, so living beyond one's means, having high fixed costs with your credit cards, things like that, and accumulating little or no savings. So not even having the backup to help you get out of these situations. So not having a good savings plan. We also see financial stress in increasing credit card usage, especially during the holidays, right? When you're like, well, I don't really have the cash on hand to buy that designer thing or that person's gift. So I'm just going to put on the credit card. Well, how many people do you do that to? And then in January, you're like, oh, my credit card bill is up higher than I normally see it. And so having a lot of high interest loans or credit card usage to cover the basic expenses of the home and or gifts.
So, you know us, we like to look at statistics and kind of talk about those just to help us see the relevance of the issues. So 88% of people feel some level of financial stress during the holidays, and 65% say finances are the biggest source of stress. So not only are you just stressed out to begin with the planning and the traveling and whatever else,
Yeah.
but 65% of that or of people say finances is really the biggest cause of that. 58% of people admit to hiding their financial stress from loved ones, and 44% say that they will ignore a financial problem until it becomes a crisis. So we don't want to admit that we're having financial struggles, right? Some of us find that embarrassing. But I think it's just our reality sometimes. And if we are open and honest about it, it can prevent us from it becoming a crisis. 47% of people say this is the most stressful. Oh, 47% say 2024 has been the most stressful year of their life financially, often citing high costs for essential goods like food. So currently, inflation,
Yeah.
right? You can't leave HEB without spending several $100s, and then you walk out with 2 bags. It's kind of like, what did I just get?
Yeah, and most of it's just basic necessities.
Mhm.
It's not even expensive things.
Right. Yeah. Like, if you go for toilet paper, paper towels, well, it's like $50, it seems. So that, and, this is a big time for people to indulge in food. And that's, food is kind of how we form community. And so there's that. And then also just like the other higher costs of just everyday life. 94% of people say they sacrifice their mental health to get by financially. with 92% saying financial stress has caused adverse physical effects, so loss of sleep, headaches, things like that. Um, I think for me that this statistic is kind of the biggest eye opener because if 94% of people are sacrificing their mental health to get by financially, that's
Mhm.
just crazy.
Yeah.
And really unfair, I feel
Mhm.
like, for us as a society and people. You know, a lot of people work multiple jobs, and that's not just because they want to travel or whatever. They have to
Mhm.
work multiple jobs just to get by, to afford the basic needs of life,
Exactly.
because it is so expensive.
Exactly. And 94% of people, I mean, think about it if you're sitting at the dinner table, especially for Christmas and things like that, right? How many people, 94%, how many people in your dinner table do you think are dealing with that? Right? So it's more common than what we think, but we like to keep it hidden because no one
Mm-hmm.
likes talking about money, right? It's like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but I think having a lot of conversation about it and being open and honest about it can help with the anxiety, losing the sleep, headaches, etc., things like
Mm-hmm.
that. So,
Yeah, because once you just kind of keep that stuff inside, it manifests in other ways,
oh yeah.
and that is through
Hmm.
those adverse physical effects.
Hmm. Okay. So, the effect on us and our family. So, we have a lot of financial problems that happen in our life. Everyone probably has gone through it.
Mm-hmm.
But financial problems can also be a significant source of conflict within the family and relationships. So, one study that I really like suggests that money accounts for 40% of fights between couples in long term relationships. So, I mean, 40%. And that's money. That's a
Mm-hmm.
lot, especially when we just talked about the other slide where we're seeing a lot of inflation, going to the groceries, $50 for just toilet paper and just
Yeah.
necessities. So 40% of those fights are based off of money or some financial stress. And what researchers say is if it's left unaddressed, these arguments can be cause distance and conflict, potentially leading to separation or divorce, which is not too far off. I think, what does it say? I saw a study the other day that said the majority of divorce is money related
Wow. Yeah.
because people have different views on it or
Mm-hmm.
things like that. In turn, right, we see that this can affect children as well. So they may experience increased instability and uncertainty, particularly when witnessing their parents worry and stress about money, and then potential effects for them in other settings as well. So if you have a kid who is raised or has seen a lot of fights or conflict or distress when it comes to money, they might be a little bit more possibly tight fisted when they're older, or they just have a lot of anxiety around money because they grew up seeing money as a different thing, maybe a
Mm-hmm.
potential conflict, maybe stress because, hey, I didn't grow up with a lot of money, seeing my parents paycheck to paycheck. So being very mindful that this doesn't even just go between parents, but this can also affect the children in the household.
And I think when it says affects them in other settings, B and I have a lot of experience working in schools, and I know, like, as a teacher for 7 years, during the holidays, it was hard
Mm-hmm.
for certain kids because they may not have gotten all the new fancy fun toys that other kids have gotten, and so
Mm-hmm.
when they come back and you're asking them to write about what you got for Christmas or what Santa brought you, it may not be anything. And
Mm-hmm.
so then that puts them in kind of like an awkward
Yeah.
time or feeling because it's like, well, I didn't get those things, because their family is dealing with financial difficulties. So it's also to just be mindful of that too. And that could manifest in behaviors at school, or and that's a whole nother
Yeah.
conversation, but just something to be thinking about
Yeah.
too, and how it affects our kids.
So this is a little more continued. So furthermore, we found that economic hardships can lead to economic pressures within family dynamics, which we just talked about, which Caitlin just kind of, talked about too. It's like unmet material needs, food,
Mm-hmm.
clothing, etc. I don't really want to talk about what I got for Christmas because I didn't get anything, or I got
Mm-hmm.
my sister's hand-me-downs, or I got
Mm-hmm.
family hand-me-downs, and I don't want to talk about that, right? Inability to pay bills or make ends meet. So we see this a lot in health insurance or medical care, right? Some people may say, okay, I paid the electric, so then I'm not going to go to my PCP this year for a checkup because I know that's $25 copay or whatever. We also see it with psychological manifestations. So, anxiety, depression, emotional distress, for all family members. I also would like to add sometimes they're psychosomatic. So we talked about the headaches and the high blood pressure. So sometimes it's not just mental, it could be psychosomatic that someone's experiencing. And then we have conflicts with parents, right, spilling over into the interactions with the children that can influence their social, emotional, and developmental outcomes, which Caitlin and I have seen a lot of being in the schools.
Mhm. So not only that, all of this stuff affects you personally, right? Um, it is seen that like many people connect their financial problems with their self-worth. So if you don't have a lot of money or whatever it is, you kind of look down on yourself, and
Mm-hmm.
they make a strong connection between the two. And with that, negative emotions like shame, guilt, and other insecurities come to surface because then you start the horrible thing of comparing yourself to
Mm-hmm.
other people. And then it makes you start to look down on yourself because you feel like you're not as well off or whatever
Mm-hmm.
it is compared to
Yeah.
that other person. And then what does that do? It erodes your self-esteem. And then actually, you guys, all of that can lead to emotional spending. So it's kind of like this vicious cycle,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, we may be experiencing financial difficulties, and then we're feeling these negative emotions. We're eroding our self esteem, and then now we're emotional spending, and then it's just like
Yeah.
a vicious thing. Polling suggests that approximately 70% of people in the US have engaged in emotional driven spending. I will be the first to admit that that has happened to me. You may be feeling a little bit down, you just get on Amazon.
Oh yeah, and you just start ordering.
Yes, and for that moment, you do feel better.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Making purchases can provide individuals with a distraction from their negative feelings. So again, I'm not liking how I'm feeling about myself. I'm going to get on
Mm-hmm.
Amazon and I'm going to scroll and look at things that I prefer, that I like,
Yeah.
and it helps with positive feelings, but only in that moment, not long term.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it is thought that shopping for and then purchasing items activates the reward center of our brains,
Mm-hmm.
releasing feel good hormones like dopamine and serotonin. So, I mean, there's been studies to show that yes, in that moment, it will
Mm-hmm.
make you feel better. But again, that long term success in dealing with those emotions, not so much.
Yeah, I know exactly. It just happens for a moment. And you're like, oh my gosh, I got that sweater I've been wanting, or I got that item that I've been wanting,
Mm-hmm.
and then you get it, and you're like, okay, now what?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's like,
And then you do it again.
yep.
And then now you're in that emotional spending, your debt is rising, and it's just like I
Mm-hmm.
said, a very
Mm-hmm.
vicious cycle.
So now we're going to talk a little bit about some coping skills for mental health, and these are going to be similar to what we've always been talking about. But these truly, guys, these work. They really do. Caitlin and I, we see this day in day out in our jobs at Frontera, and really these do help. So let's look at them. So setting personal boundaries. Okay, this isn't only just for interpersonal dynamics within the family. You're seeing everyone for the holidays and things like that. But this is also setting personal boundaries with finances. Maybe if you might get into that emotional
Mm-hmm.
spending, setting aside every paycheck, 50, whatever percentage you feel right, $50 or 10% or whatever that percentage away for those type of spending moments, right? So then you have some spending money where you're like, okay, my bills are paid, everything's paid for. I have this, extra, $100 or so I can
Mm-hmm.
have some fun money. Plan ahead, get a calendar out, get a planner out. Maybe you and partner talk about budgeting for the month of, whatever month is going to be the harder month. Maybe it's January for some folks, the
Mm-hmm.
recovery. So let's plan. Let's make a game plan for January of how we're going to tackle the debt or the things that happen in December. Practice gratitude. I know that's easier said than done, but really setting 5-10 minutes aside and doing a thankful list. What am I thankful for? It could be electricity. It could
Mm-hmm.
be, hey, my boss gave me a pat on the back today at work. Just practicing that gratitude and being grateful for yourself and the things that you do have. Engage in self care. doing something for yourself, whether it's getting your nails done with that fun money, whether it's just taking a nice bubble bath at the end of the day, or
Mhm.
reading a chapter of your favorite book. So really using that self-care, staying connected to your loved ones, staying connected to those who fill your cup up. Don't, forget about them, because sometimes it's hard to see out of things like, oh, I'm really anxious or whatever. I'm going to start spending. I'm going to get in that spending
Mhm.
drive. But really, hey, I just need to call my best friend for 5 minutes or something. Honoring your emotions. So, honoring your emotions means allowing them to be felt, taking time to say, okay, what is going on? I'm feeling the sadness, but where is it coming from, right? So, honoring those and not just trying to push them away, because your emotions are telling you something. Seeking therapeutic services for yourself or your family. So maybe it's seeking family therapy for the family dynamic. Maybe seeking individual therapy for yourself if you're like, hey, I
Mhm.
really need to find better coping skills than just the spending habit that I have.
Yeah. And I think too, with the honoring your emotions, like, and with those statistics we went over, it's pretty obvious
Mm-hmm.
that as a whole, people are feeling these things during the holidays. And so by honoring your emotions, you're kind of making note, like, man, I feel this way,
Mm-hmm.
but also they probably feel this way too.
Yeah.
And so honoring your emotions and then staying connected, those kind of go hand in hand, because if you can honor them, then you can share with
Mm-hmm.
someone you're close to that you're feeling this way, and they probably are too, and maybe that's an opportunity for them to share back. And then together you're helping each other
Mm-hmm.
versus turning to other negative things. Um,
No,
so just
exactly. I love that.
And so there's also just a couple ways that we want to go over that would help you keep your finances and your stress in check. Of course, planning and looking ahead. B kind of went over this. Get your calendar out, you guys. I laugh because I have a calendar on my computer, I have a calendar on my phone, and I have a calendar, like just a planner.
Yeah. Yeah. No, me too.
Yeah, sometimes it still doesn't seem enough. I've got sticky notes everywhere reminding me of X, Y, and Z, but it does help. Um, Host affordable holiday gatherings. Sometimes it doesn't have to be about the presents or the
Mm-hmm.
gifts. Just getting everybody together to just spend time together. Because I think nowadays more than ever, quality time is really lacking.
Oh, yeah.
People are busy, people are working multiple jobs. There's just so much demand on people. And so with
Mm-hmm.
that comes a lack of just community. And so instead of all of the gifts, just host a little gathering.
Yeah.
Everybody bring a dessert, or
Yeah.
let's make s'mores, or just something simple. Make a gift list and stick to it. I know that's easier said than done, but if you plan ahead on what it is you want to buy, you're able to track how much that is, and that helps you to save specifically just for that.
Mm-hmm.
And don't go out of that. Just keep to that list, keep to what you're set on buying,
Mm-hmm.
and then that keeps you on track. Traveling smart. Don't wait till the last minute to make plans. Things seem to be more expensive when you wait last minute. That kind of goes with the planning and looking ahead. And then also shop smart, shop early. I know Black Friday
Yep.
is this
Get all those
Friday.
deals.
Yeah, I've got probably 10,000 emails telling me, hey, check out this deal, check out this deal. And as annoying as that might be, there are some good deals out there.
Mm-hmm.
And so just kind of taking some time to dig through that could also
Mm-hmm.
help you with the finances
Yeah.
and the spending. Plan for post holiday expenses. I think this is a huge one because I think we're so worried about the right now.
Yeah.
How do we afford it right now? And you make it work, but then you don't really think about January
Mm-hmm.
and all your money's gone now. Oh no, how am I going to afford my bills in January? Which is just as equally important as the stuff in December, November.
Yeah.
Um, Avoid credit cards. B touched on this earlier
Mm-hmm.
too. Like, this is a huge thing, you guys. Credit cards is not free money.
No, it's not. As long as, like they like to tell us, it is not free
Yeah,
money.
I always joke. I'm like, oh, I'll use the free money, but no, it's not free money, and in fact, it's more money because it's
Mm-hmm.
those charges are sitting there, um, and they're gathering interest, and so then you end up paying more than what you would have paid originally.
Mm-hmm.
And just focus on the meaning again. This time is just about community and gathering and spending time with each other and really just reflecting on what it is that we're
Mm-hmm.
thankful for and what we do have,
Yeah.
instead of focusing so much on what we don't. And then last thing, embracing DIY or thoughtful gift giving. Sometimes that just means more, you
Yeah.
know? And I am obsessed with Pinterest. Um, Pinterest is God's gift to us.
No, it is. Honestly, so
So
good.
you could always turn to Pinterest if you're needing some ideas, and that
Mhm.
could also help with the holiday gatherings. I mean, literally anything. So just some thoughts there.
Yeah, no, I love that, Caitlin, especially Pinterest, y'all. I mean, I think one year my mom and I, we didn't want to pay for gifts just because we just don't want to do that. And so we did cookie baskets for everyone,
Love it. Yeah.
and so we just spent one, that was the connection, right? Because we were connecting in the kitchen, we were getting stuff done, and we were doing something thoughtful of like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
let's just bake multiple different things and give them out to people.
Yeah, that's great. That's a good point.
Mm.
Like doing those DIY or thoughtful gift giving, that does help bring you and maybe somebody else together, like you and your mom. And so it kind of touches on multiple
Mm-hmm.
things. You're saving money. It's more thoughtful. You're connecting with other people.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, yeah, it's really
Exactly.
awesome.
Yeah, it's great. We love it.
Yeah.
So, here are some of our references if you're ever interested or you're like, hey, where do they get those stats? This is where everything is. Feel free to reach out to us in the chat below if you have any other questions regarding our references. Um, but before we close out, I just want to say if you're ready to take the next step in prioritizing your mental health, we invite you to attend our Thrive Connection group counseling sessions. Um, they're available free through the Wellness Uncorked. These classes will be held by Frontera's professional LPC associates, me and Caitlin, who are supervised again by Dr. Amos, and are open to individuals and their immediate family members working in hospitality, service, or retail industries. Frontera also offers individual counseling and medical services, both in person and virtual. So don't let travel stop you. We do have virtual,
Mhm.
and we take a lot of different insurances and offer a sliding scale to make healthcare affordable. And if you'd like to learn more, call us at 830-362-2185 or visit our website. So again, if you found today's session helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel so you never miss out on a Mindful Monday presentation, and we'll go live the first Monday of every month, okay? And we appreciate you being here today and hope to see you next month, January 5th. And if you have any questions or concerns, like we say, please drop it in the chat below. We'll be free to answer those questions, and we'd love to hear from you. Have a wonderful Mindful Monday.
Thanks,
Bye,
guys.
guys.